this video I'm testing some blades for flatness after I've quenched them. They've had a couple of temper cycles. Generally I clamp them together. I find that tends to sort of take most of the warps, because you do get slight warpage out of the blades. If I clamp them together, that takes most of the warp away. Certainly after 2 temper cycles, most of them are dead flat. But on occasion one refuses to play ball, and it needs a bit of extra persuasion. And in the past I used to use a vice and 3 pins, and I'd put the blade in there and tweak it. And I did lose a few blades when you're torquing that way, and you're putting all that stress into the hardened and tempered blade at that point. Even though I used to heat them up before I did it, I still lost a few blades doing that. And I don't like the idea of putting stress through the blade like that to straighten a warp. So any blades which refuse to straighten by being clamped together during a temper cycle, they get an extra special treatment on the 3rd and final temper. I temper all my blades 3 times. So this is one such blade here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to straighten it. But also it's happened to this blade, and this is a unique blade because it's the first prototype of a new design that I'm working on. When I first started knife making, I started I think in 2010, so 10 years now, and one of my early knife designs was this little thing. I think I probably built about 5 of them in total, but it was just too small really. The handle wasn't really big enough, long enough. But I liked the blade shape, but I didn't quite like the way that it was bent down so much like that. And I called it the Jacklaw Mini. So I thought I'll make a new version of it, and I've come up with that. So it's got a much longer handle, lozenge shape handle, and it's just I think once it's got the scales fitted, I think it'd be a very comfortable grip. But I won't know until I've built it. So it is the prototype. But I'll take you in for a look at the straightening process for now, and for that process I use a piece of plate glass, and my plate glass is probably about ½ inch, not quite ½ inch thick, dead flat, and I use one surface. I've got glued on one surface a circular disc from a disc sander. It just means that I can use that surface for getting my scales flat, but flip it onto the other surface, and I use that for all my marking and all my testing for flatness. So I'll bring you across to that now. I'm working on a batch of 4 3mm classics, and as I say, I got this one whittling knife. I'm going to be putting a very lean Scandi on that, 11 degrees per side, so it's not going to be your general bushcraft tool. These will have 25-degree bevels on, so a lot stronger bevels. So anyway, the thing that you do, you place your blade onto there, and then you push down. And if you've got any warp in the blade, you'll hear it. But in this, these are all flat. Or very, very tiny warps, so imperceptibly small that you wouldn't know that they were there, and you certainly wouldn't be able to see them. So I'm very happy with the straightness of these. But this one, unfortunately, let me put this one down. You can see it, you can hear it, and it's quite pronounced. So the warp is on the other side, it's bending away. I'll bring the camera in for a closer look. Right, okay. Hopefully that angle will show it. It's quite a warp. Well, across the blade it's very flat. A little bit in the tip of the blade. But it's not rocking at that point. It's starting to rock. So the warp is happening. It's starting at that point there. I'm working from the other edge now. Right, it's in that area there. So the warp is happening. Most of the warp is there. I think I've got a tiny. No, I think the blade is very straight. It's certainly not going to be able. You're not going to be able to see anything there. It might be just a very, very tiny warp, a micro warp, but that's nothing. This is the big one. This is what I want to correct. And because normal straight clamping hasn't corrected it, I'm going to use a bit of a counter bend just in that section there, and I'll show you how I do that. So that's the way we want to clamp it, that way. We want to clamp it with the marked side up. There you can see. This is heat treat foil or tool wrap. No reason why you couldn't actually just cut some of that. You've got to watch this stuff because it's really sharp. So now it's simply a matter of clamping that. Basically the tool wrap has formed a counter bend. So I just use these little G clamps. So that's it. That's the simple little jig, and that'll just go in the tempering oven and be tempered with the rest of the knives now for their third and final temper. I don't know if you can see closely how I make the Rockwell measurements on my knives. Let's see if I can zoom you in. You can see the 3 dimples there that I take. That gives me I take an average reading of 3 because I'm very familiar with my Rockwell machine. I get very accurate readings, and were all the same. Currently, this blade is at just slightly below 60 HRC, and I want it to get down to 59. So I got to temper it a bit hotter. The first 2 temper cycles were at about 225, so I'm probably going to have to go to 250. To get this down to 59. Anyway, into the tempering oven. This is my tempering oven. I find this a really a good old oven. Very old. Just an old baby belling. You don't need high temperatures really for tempering of 01. It's controlled by this device here, which is known as a PID, and it's incredibly accurate. It's a very accurate piece of the kit that it keeps that oven to plus or minus 1 degree centigrade. Unbelievable. There's the knives all ready to go. The one that didn't behave, and the rest of them, which are all very straight, and into the tempering oven they go. Let's hope we don't do a King Alfred on them. Well, sometime later they've had their third and final tempers, and hopefully we've got that blade straight in this temper. They have changed colour a little bit. That's the oxidational colours. We'll have a look at them in a minute, but I'll put them somewhere to cool off now. Well, let's have a look at them. They've cooled down now. Let's unclamp this one. I noticed straight away that it's not springing back, so I think we've made the blade take on a new set. Right then, let's put that away. The first thing that's immediately obvious is the colours, tempering colours. And you can see they're a lot different to the plain steel colours. But look, we know these are all flat. But it's this one here that we're interested in. This is the one that had the very bad warp. Let's bring you in for a closer look. Make sure it's clean. It's virtually got rid of that warp. There's a tiny barely anything, so that's now good enough for me to grind that out, put a bevel on it, and fit some scales and take it out and use it. On to Rockwell testing now. Let's have a look, see what we're going to get. They did measure at 60, looking for 59. Let's measure it there. I am extremely happy with that. Right, well, I'm very happy with the Rockwell readings, delighted with those. I know some of you have been tuning in now, interested in how the dogs are doing. Right, it was Jessie, Elsa rather. Hang on, put that knife away. It was Elsa that had the cancer, and then Jessie became unwell. She had a problem with her eye. She went to the vet, and they've actually had to remove her eye. So if you don't like things which don't look nice, if gory things, then please look away now. But if you're interested to see how little Jess is doing, then I'll show you. Go on then, Jess. Come on. Oh. It's not pretty. There you are then, Jess. So they've removed her eye, and it's all swollen at the moment, but that will go down, and hopefully she will make a recovery. She's just turned 15, so she's not a young dog. In fact, she's a real old lady, aren't you? You're a real old lady, aren't you? Good girl. Yeah. She's got to keep this on for a little while, otherwise she might scratch her eye or her socket. Good girl. Yeah. As for this knife, I'm just going to grind it and use it, because I want to use this on a camping video on my other channel tomorrow. So it means I've got to grind the bevels today and fit the handles today. Then I'll be able to shape the handle tomorrow and use it on my camp as just take it out and just do some whittling with it to see how it works. So if you want to see this knife in use, then please check out my other YouTube channel, which is called Wiltshire Man, and then you'll see how it goes. And then so I might add this to the range. It's going to have a very lean grind, 11mm per side, specifically for carving, and I can make the blade longer, I can make it even shorter, or I could make it straight so that it would be very pointy. But I think as it is, being quite slender, it would make a good little tool. Anyway, if you want to see that in action, check out my other YouTube channel, and there'll be a video featuring this knife on that channel short. Here's the knife. That noise is my little dog. Just a quick test, deflection test. I can see the end. I can see the edge deflecting nicely and returning. That's beautiful. Happy with that. Going to clean it up and put the handle on. So that brings this one to a conclusion. Thanks for watching. I hope it's been a help to somebody, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.